There's a company you have almost certainly never thought about. You won't find it on your phone's home screen. It doesn't sell you anything you can hold in your hand, and yet it is worth around $175 billion. 90% of the 500 biggest companies in America depend on it to function. Its name glows from the top of the tallest skyscraper in San Francisco. And today, without ever realizing it, you almost certainly touched something it built. This is Salesforce, the biggest company most people have never heard of. So how does a company that almost nobody can even explain become one of the most powerful forces in the entire economy? Let's tear it apart. Start with the obvious question. What does Salesforce actually do? Because if you ask 10 people on the street, maybe one can answer. So here's the simplest way to understand it. Every business on Earth has one asset that matters more than any product, any building, or any logo: its customers, who they are, what they bought, when they last called, what they complained about, what they might buy next. For a corner shop, all of that lives in one person's head. But for a company with 10 million customers, that information is worth more than gold. And it is impossibly complicated to keep track of. Salesforce is the invisible brain that holds all of it. It's the system that quietly remembers every customer, every conversation, and every deal for the largest companies in the world. When an airline texts you about a delayed flight, when a car dealership follows up 3 days after your test drive, when a support agent somehow already knows your entire history before you finish your sentence. Very often, in the background, that is Salesforce. You never see it, but it has been shaping how the world sells to you for over 25 years. To put its reach in perspective, think about almost any large company you dealt with this week. Your bank, your mobile carrier, the airline you flew, the online store that shipped your package. The odds are high that somewhere inside each of them, a Salesforce system was quietly tracking you, logging the call, flagging you as a valuable customer, deciding which offer to send you next. It has become a kind of invisible infrastructure, like plumbing or electricity. You never think about the pipes inside your walls until something goes wrong. Salesforce is the pipes, and most of the water flowing through the business world quietly runs through them. And that, right there, is the answer to our opening mystery. Why you've never heard of a company this enormous. It's simple. You were never the customer. Salesforce doesn't sell to people. It sells to businesses. It is never needed to run an ad during your favorite show or splash its name across a stadium for you to see. Its pitch is aimed at CEOs, not consumers. So it quietly grew into a $175 billion giant in near total silence, hidden behind almost every company that actually does sell to you. To understand how it got this big, you have to go back to 1999 and to a man named Marc Benioff. Benioff was a prodigy at Oracle, one of the largest software companies on Earth. A vice president by 26, a protege of the legendary Larry Ellison. He had it made. And then he walked away because he was convinced that everyone was building software the wrong way. Back then, buying business software was a nightmare. You paid millions of dollars up front. Engineers spent months installing it onto your own computers. It broke constantly. Benioff's idea was radical, almost heretical. What if software wasn't a product you bought and installed at all? What if it simply lived on the internet and you paid a small fee every month to use it, like electricity? No disks, no installation. He called it the end of software, and he was so aggressive about it that he sent actors to protest a rival's conference holding signs with a red "No Software" logo. People thought he was insane. He wasn't. That one idea, software as a subscription, delivered over the internet, is now the model behind almost every app and service you pay for today. Netflix, Spotify, Adobe, your tools at work, all of it. Benioff didn't just build a company. He invented the way the entire modern software industry makes money, and that model turned out to be a money printing machine. Here's why it's so powerful. When you sell software the old way, you make one big sale and then you have to go hunt for the next customer all over again. But when you sell a subscription, that same customer pays you again next month, and the month after, and the year after that. The revenue doesn't reset, it stacks. Salesforce signs a company, gets it hooked, and then quietly expands inside it. More users, more products, higher tiers year after year. They even have a name for it: land and expand. Land a small deal, then grow it from the inside until leaving becomes almost unthinkable. The result: in its 2025 fiscal year, Salesforce brought in around $38 billion, most of it recurring, arriving like clockwork whether they close a new deal that day or not. More than 150,000 companies now pay Salesforce, 9 out of every 10 of the biggest corporations in America. And once a company has built its entire sales operation on top of Salesforce, ripping it out is like trying to replace the foundation of a house while you're still living in it. That is the quiet genius of the whole thing. And it worked so well that Salesforce didn't just enter the customer management market, it swallowed it. Today it is by far the #1 company of its kind on the planet, bigger than its next several competitors combined. For most of the corporate world, managing your customers and using Salesforce have quietly become the same sentence. But even a money machine eventually slows down. When you already have most of the giant customers, where does the next wave of growth come from? Salesforce's answer was simple and ruthless. If you can't build it fast enough, buy it. Over the last decade, Salesforce went on one of the most aggressive shopping sprees in the history of technology. It bought MuleSoft, a company that connects different software systems together, for $6.5 billion. It bought Tableau, the tool huge companies use to turn their data into charts and dashboards, for around $16 billion. And then it made its biggest move of all. It bought Slack, the messaging app that millions of people open at work every single day, for nearly $28 billion. Think about that for a second. That chat app your entire office runs on, there's a very good chance it now belongs to Salesforce. Piece by piece, deal by deal, Salesforce stopped being just a customer database and started becoming the invisible operating system for how modern companies actually work. Talking, sharing data, tracking everything. It didn't just grow, it absorbed. And as the company grew, so did the man behind it. Marc Benioff became one of the most powerful figures in all of technology, and he made sure everyone could see it. In 2018, Salesforce opened its own skyscraper, the Salesforce Tower, over 1,000 feet tall, the tallest building in San Francisco, its name lit up over the entire skyline. That same year, Benioff reached into his own pocket and bought Time magazine, the 100-year-old icon of American journalism, for $190 million. Not Salesforce. Him, personally. And once a year, his company throws a conference called Dreamforce that effectively takes over the city of San Francisco, drawing so many people that it feels less like a corporate event and more like a small nation gathering. To give you a sense of the scale, Dreamforce books out nearly every hotel room in the city, shuts down entire streets, and hires headline musicians, U2, Metallica, the Foo Fighters, to play private shows for the crowd. And Benioff built the whole company on a philosophy he calls the 1-1-1 model. From the very first day, Salesforce pledged 1% of its equity, 1% of its product, and 1% of its employees' time to charity, a model now copied by thousands of companies around the world. To Benioff, business was never just a way to make money. It was, in his own words, the greatest platform for change. This is the strange double life of Salesforce. A company the public can barely define, run by a man rich and powerful enough to own the skyline and the press at the same time. Invisible to you. Impossible to ignore once you know where to look. But this story isn't just one long, smooth climb, because a couple of years ago, the invisible giant stumbled, and it stumbled hard. During the pandemic, as the entire world rushed online, Salesforce went on a hiring spree, ballooning to more than 70,000 employees. Then the boom ended, growth slowed, and the stock got cut nearly in half. That's when the sharks arrived. In late 2022 and early 2023, some of the most feared activist investors on Wall Street, Elliott Management, Starboard Value, ValueAct, and more, circled Salesforce all at once, taking huge stakes and demanding that it stop spending like a reckless startup and start behaving like a mature, profitable company. For the first time in years, Benioff's empire looked genuinely vulnerable. His response was brutal and fast. In January 2023, Salesforce laid off around 10% of its workforce, roughly 8,000 people, and slashed costs across the board. It worked. Profits jumped, the stock roared back, and the activists backed down. But the message was clear. The era of growth at any cost was over. Salesforce needed a new engine, and Benioff already knew what it would be. Which brings us to the biggest gamble in Salesforce's history. The whole empire was built on one idea. Companies pay for seats, a monthly fee for every human who logs in. But what happens when that work can be done by artificial intelligence instead? Salesforce is betting the company on it with a new platform called Agentforce, AI agents that answer customers, close tickets, and chase leads with no person touching the keyboard. It's a bold, dangerous move, because it could become the next money machine, or quietly eat the very model that made Salesforce rich. After all, if companies need fewer human seats, what are they still paying for? Just like in 1999, Benioff is betting everything that he can see the future first. And whether he's right may decide if Salesforce stays a giant or becomes a cautionary tale. So here's where we land. Salesforce is the perfect hidden giant, worth over $100 billion, woven so deeply into the businesses you deal with every day that you've stopped being able to see it. It never wanted your attention. It sits quietly behind the airline, the bank, the store, and the app, remembering you and charging the world's biggest companies for the privilege. So the next time you get an email at suspiciously the perfect moment, know there's a real chance a quiet giant in San Francisco is behind it. And if you'd never heard of Salesforce before this video, imagine how many other giants are hiding in plain sight. We're taking them apart, one at a time. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Teardown.